We got ourselves a full-fledged, down and dirty, good old-fashioned, 100% authentic flip of the lines. Thanks for tuning in. Brock Page here, and I do random sports picks for fun. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the LA Chargers in a parking lot. Oh wait, the StubHub Center, whatever that is. The betting opened up with the Chargers as the 1-point underdog with the total at 46.5. Since the betting opened up, however, we've got ourselves a full-fledged, down and dirty, good old-fashioned, 1,000% authentic flip of the lines. The Los Angeles Chargers are now -1 against the spread, with the total moving upward to an even 48. Currently, the Chargers are the money line favorites at $1.15, and at the moment, 61% of the money is back on the Philadelphia Eagles. So look for that line to possibly flip a few more times during the week. All told, however, we should most likely end up at a pick'em contest by the closing number, depending on where you're shopping. Regardless, this Charger team hasn't covered for, well, you know what? They're 0-3 against the spread overall on the year. They're also a winless 0-2 against the number at home. While going winless through 3 weeks on the scoreboard, they're also winless in the sports books, failing to cover against the likes of KC, Miami, and Denver. They're going up against an Eagles squad who's 1-1 on the road against the number this year. They also had a nice cover in week 1 against the 2-1 Redskins. All told, the case for birds can certainly be made. But before I go ahead and select an official winner, let's break down the totals real quick. And when it comes to the scoring, Charger games are 2-0 to the unders in their last 2. They're also scoring just 16 points of offense per game. Meanwhile, Eagles games are 1-1 to the unders before last week's contest themselves. All told, the case for the under can certainly be made, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Give me the under 48, with the Philadelphia Eagles catching a point, getting the job done. All told, I got the Eagles +1 and winning it outright with the under 48 total points. Next game I have for you, it is going to be San Fran +7.5 at Arizona. This Niners squad has been a good covering team so far this year, going 2-1 overall against the spread. They've also covered 2 of 3 as the official Vegas underdog. Their marquee covers came over the likes of the Rams and Seattle. The Niners are going up against a Cardinals team who's failed to cover the spread in all their games this year. In addition to that, Arizona's 0-2 against the number as the official Vegas favorite. All told, believe it or not, the case for the Niners can certainly be made. But before I go ahead and select a winner, let's go ahead and break down the totals. And when it comes to the scoring, 2 out of both teams' last 3 games have gone under the posted total. And keep in mind, before their shootout with the Rams, this 49er team had only scored 12 points in both weeks 1 and 2. I don't have an opening line for you on the total, but I will predict a combined point total of 44 total combined points. And when it comes to selecting a winner, this Arizona squad lost outright to the likes of Detroit and Dallas, so there's no harm done there. Those are good teams, but I do think they can get it done outright in this matchup. But their counterparts have covered over the likes of Seattle and the Rams, so I think San Fran keeps it close here. I'm going to go ahead and buy the hook. I'm also going to disagree with the betting public on this one. I like the San Francisco 49ers +8 getting the job done against the spread, with the Arizona Cardinals winning this one outright for some money line cash. All told, I've got San Fran +8 with a total of 44, and the Cards winning it outright. Next contest, New York Giants at Tampa Bay. The Bucs opened up as the 4.5-point favorites in this one, with the total at an even 44 points. Since the betting opened up, however, a lot of that early money actually came pouring in on the 0-3 New York Football Giants to get the job done. Right now, the G-Men are catching 3.5 on the spread, with the total moving upward to 44.5. Currently, Tampa's the $1.60 moneyline favorites, and at the moment, 52% of the betting public has action on New York. Although I have the line at 3.5, the Giants at +3 actually feels right in the spot when it comes to the actual number itself. I think that's probably where we'll see the closing number end up at. So I wouldn't go crazy trying to wait out some line moves. If there's a number you want to see the line at, I'd probably save myself some time and just try to buy it up or down depending on where I want it. But regardless, the Giants garnered themselves a marquee cover last week against the Eagles. This was an especially satisfying cover for Giants bettors as the G-men went into the fourth quarter down 14-0, and it wasn't even a backdoor cover. The Giants ripped off 24 points in the fourth. So the G-men do have the ability to cover on the road. They're 1-1 against the spread away from home. They've also covered one of two games as the official Vegas underdog. They're going up against a Tampa squad who's 0-1 against the spread versus teams giving up less than 21 a game. Tampa also failed to cover against a Minnesota team who's without their starting QB. And as a matter of fact, the Bucs got blasted by 17 points in that one. All told, I think taking sides with the G-men presents some exceptional value. If you remember in years past, New York's always been a very streaky team, so they definitely are capable of ripping off like 5 or 6 straight wins, even when they look this bad. All told, the case for Giants bettors can certainly be made. But before I go ahead and select a winner myself, let's go ahead and take a look at the scoring. And when it comes to the totals, 2 out of the Giants' 3 games this season have gone under the closing posted total. The G-men are also scoring just 12 points per contest. Meanwhile, on the other side, similar story as Tampa games are 1-1 to the unders themselves. All told, the case for the under can certainly be made. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and buy the hook once again and disagree with the betting public. I'm taking the under 45 total points in this one. And when it comes to selecting a winner, I really like the Giants catching points here. I'm going to buy it up to an even 4 points and take the New York Football Giants +4 and winning it outright for some money line cash. All told, I've got New York and the under 45. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Oakland at Denver. This is a marquee matchup. The Raiders opened up as the 1-point dogs in this one with the total at an even 47. Since the betting opened up, the majority of that early money has come pouring in on the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are now the 2.5-point favorites on the spread at home, with the total moving downward to 46.5. Currently, Denver's favored on the money line to win it outright. And at the moment, just 39% of the money's on the Raiders. So look for them to possibly catch some more points throughout the week. And speaking of these Raiders, they're coming off a bad loss at the hands of the Washington Redskins in Landover. Depending on where you're shopping, I saw a closing number as high as Oakland -4 in that one. Really an embarrassing loss for those guys and a potential debilitating setback for sure. They're going up against a Denver team who's 2-1 overall, as well as 2-1 against the spread. This Denver squad is also a perfect 2-0 against the number at home. All told, I really like Denver in the spot here. They're great in the friendly confines. But before I go ahead and make my official pick, let's go ahead and break down the total real quick. And when it comes to the scoring, Denver games are 3-0 to the overs going into week 4. Meanwhile, on the other side, Oakland contests went 1-1 to the overs before last week's game themselves. The Raiders also averaged 36 points a game before their Week 3 contest at Washington. All told, the case for the over can certainly be made, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm once again disagreeing with the bettors. I'm also buying the hook and taking the over 46 in this one. And when it comes to selecting a winner, this Denver team is statistically winning by an average of 14 points per game at home this year. I like them. I like them a lot. I'm going to fully agree with the bettors when it comes to choosing sides. Finally, I agree with you guys. I'm also going to buy it down once again and take the Broncos -2 and winning it outright for some money line cash. All told, I've got Denver and the over 46. Next game I have for you, it is going to be the Sunday night primetime game, Indianapolis at Seattle. The Colts opened up as the 12.5-point dogs. The total at an even 41. Since the betting opened up, most of that early money's come in on the Seattle Seahawks to get it done. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are laying 13.5, with the total moving upward to 41.5. Currently, Seattle's the 10-1 money line favorites, but at the moment, just 39% of the current action's on the Seahawks. So look for that spread to move back closer to that original opening number. And when it comes to the number, Seattle struggled to cover it. They're a winless 0-3 overall against the points, while failing to cover in their lone home game at CenturyLink. They've also struggled to cover against poor defenses. That's right, they can't cover against teams giving up lots of points. I know that sounds ridiculous. As a matter of fact, this Seahawks team is 0-2 against the number versus teams giving up more than 25 a game. So far, they failed to cover over the likes of Tennessee, Green Bay, and the Niners. Ugh. They're going up against a Indy team who's not very good, but these guys are indeed 2-1 against the spread so far in the year, and one of those covers came against the Arizona Cardinals. They also have a newfound hope in their new backup quarterback. All told, I really think the case can be made for the Colts and their bettors in this one. But before I go ahead and select a winner, let's go ahead and break down the scoring real quick. And when it comes to the totals, 2 out of Indy's 3 games have actually gone over the posted total. Meanwhile, on the other side, Seattle's 1-1 to the overs in their last 2 games themselves. In addition to that, Seattle found themselves in a 33-27 offensive slugfest against the Titans this past week. All told, the case for the over bettors can certainly be made. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy it down and take the over 41 in this one. And when it comes to selecting a winner, there's really no doubt in my mind that Seattle wins this one outright. And I really wouldn't consider them a fraudulent team. They're just struggling right now. Unfortunately, this is the right time to have a cupcake on the schedule. I guess the league threw them a bone here. I think having San Fran in week 2 and Indy in week 4 guaranteed these guys would be at least 500 going into week 5. All told, I got Seattle winning it outright, although a moneyline play is pretty ridiculous here. But when it comes to the number, the case for Indy bettors was already made. I'm liking them to cover. I'm buying the hook. Give me Indy plus 14 with the over 41. I also like Seattle winning it outright, like I said. All right, folks, that's going to take me into Monday night. It's also my next and final game for the show. I'm talking about Washington at Kansas City. The Chiefs opened up as the 8-point favorites in this one with the total at 49.5. Since the betting opened up, however, most of that early money came pouring in on the Redskins to get the job done. Right now, KC's just minus 6.5 against the spread with the total moving upward to an even 50 points. Currently, KC's the 280 moneyline favorites, and at the moment, 54% of the betting public still has action on the Redskins. Speaking of which, the Skins are going up against a Kansas City team who's been a bettor's dream thus far. This Kansas City squad is 3-0 outright, but also 3-0 against the number on the year. They have marquee covers and outright wins over the likes of the Eagles, Chargers, and New England Patriots. The Chiefs are also winning by an average of 12 points per contest. I really don't think I need to go into further detail. These guys have been awesome against the number. If you're betting sides, the case for KC can most certainly be made. Before I go ahead and select a winner in this one, let's go ahead and break down the total real quick. And when it comes to the scoring, 2 out of Washington's 3 games on the year went under the line. Meanwhile, on the other side, similar story as KC's 1-1 to the unders in their last 2 themselves. All told, the case for under bettors can certainly be made. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to once again fully disagree with the bettors. Give me the under 50 points in this one. And once again, I said the case for Chiefs bettors can certainly be made. I'm really liking the ability to buy this one down. I'm also once again in full disagreement with the betting public. I'm buying the hook and taking KC minus 6 and winning it outright at home. All told, I like KC and the under 50 points. Well, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.